Hello and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. The Ministry of Energy and Transport hosted an energy summit to engage officials and industry experts in discussions and strategies aimed at creating a more sustainable future for energy in the Bahamas. The opening ceremony for the two-day event took place at Baha Mar Convention Center on November 7th, 2024.
For the past few years, the month of November has been designated as CARICOM's Energy Month. The aim of this initiative is to raise public awareness of the energy issues confronting our region. The focus of this year's Energy Month is sustainable energy. As small island developing states, we consider energy to be sustainable if it meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Investing in sustainable energy is key to reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, stabilizing costs, and improving energy security, while lowering carbon emissions and combating climate change. As a member of CARICOM, the Bahamas will do its part to support the expansion of sustainable energy solutions. Here in the Bahamas, our makeup is distinctive. We are not a single connected landmass. Instead, we are made of different islands and keys. There are also two main utility companies, Bahamas Power and Light, which provides services in New Providence and our family island, and in our second city, Grand Bahama, there is Grand Bahama Power and Light, which is privately owned. As our energy ecosystem is unique, our efforts to achieve enhanced energy security must be national and comprehensive. Today's Energy Summit, under the theme Accelerating the Bahamas' Energy Transition Through Innovation and Strategic Partnership, will ignite our revolution. Innovation spurs progress in all facets of our daily lives and economy. Specifically, innovation is powering our energy revolution. Our energy projects will utilize proven new ideas, methods, devices, and changes in the energy industry. For example, our microgrid integration project will include the use of advanced technology that is user-friendly and sustainable. Now we understand that our ability to drive change comes down to more than innovation. It also depends on strategic relationship. We have selected partners with international experience to draw on their expertise, and also local companies, some of which are 100% Bahamian-owned, to expand entrepreneur opportunities. Our partners share our vision and commitment to enhancing energy security throughout the Bahamas. This balanced approach will drive our energy reforms, making our dreams of energy security a reality. In the Bahamas, our energy revolution is being driven by the following key reforms: modernization of the electricity grid and transmission and distribution system for New Providence, expansion of solar projects on New Providence, building of utility-scale solar power in family islands, remodeling energy generation through LNG implementation in New Providence, and the transformation of Bahamas Power and Light. A modernized electricity grid is a critical component to increasing resiliency. Strengthening the electric grid will lessen disruptions, reduce power outages, and help lower energy bills. The electric grid is made up of more than just power plants. It includes transmission lines designed to transport energy over long distances and distribution systems that carry electricity to the individual consumer. Today's electric grid is aging and is being pushed to do more than it was originally designed to do. A 21st century grid must be flexible and smarter as our energy mix is changing. The operational partnership between BPL and Bahamas Grid Company will extend the infrastructure capabilities and allow for much needed upgrades. Energy costs will be lowered through several mechanisms. First, is the shift towards generation options with lower cost fuel or no cost fuel in the case of renewable generation. Second, the upgrade of the grid, which will bring about a more efficient delivery of power, so less energy is wasted getting the power from the generation plant to your home or businesses. Third, a well-built and well-sized system will allow for a lower ongoing maintenance cost than we currently have today. All these savings will be passed along to our consumers.
A few months back, I met a Bahamian family who shared with me what it was like to budget each month, knowing that a large portion of their income would go to their energy bills. For them, like for so many others, the energy bill was not just a number. It was a source of constant worry, a strain on their plans, and a limiter on their dreams. They could not easily budget for their children's education, for improvements to their home, or even for a simple family outing. The energy costs had become an anchor that held them back. They're not alone. This is the story of so many Bahamians, from young families starting out to retirees who want to enjoy the years they've worked so hard to reach. Our high energy costs affect every aspect of our lives. They limit our financial freedom, constrain our growth, and make everyday life harder than it should be. And this has been the case for far too long. We cannot and will not accept that the future of energy in the Bahamas should look like the past. We need a new way forward. Reducing the cost of energy is not only a priority for this administration, it is a mission, an obligation, and a necessity. We know that change is urgent. The Bahamian people are resilient, but they deserve better than an outdated energy infrastructure that's stretched beyond capacity, an infrastructure that can't keep up with modern demands and that remains vulnerable to every storm and every price shock in the global fuel markets. To understand the challenges we face, we must acknowledge the reality. Our electricity infrastructure is aging. Some parts of it are over 50 years old, dating back to a time when our nation was still on the path to independence. So some of our most essential components, from transformers to substations, are near the end of their lifespan. And then there's the question of our power plants. 60% of our generation in New Providence and up to 80% in the Family Islands needs replacement within the next 5 years. It's a system that struggles to meet today's needs, let alone the demands of tomorrow. This infrastructure is costly and increasingly unreliable, relying heavily on diesel and heavy fuels that continue to push up prices for Bahamian families and businesses alike. This reliance on fossil fuels makes our economy vulnerable to global price fluctuations, leaving us with high bills and an uncertain future. When we came into office, we knew we had to address this head on, and we began this work immediately. We made it our mission to envision a new energy future for the Bahamas, one where our energy is reliable, affordable, and sustainable.
In his national statement at the United Nations Climate Change Conference 29, hosted in Baku, Azerbaijan on November 13, 2024, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, admonished world leaders to look beyond borders and hold fast to their climate commitments, as he says the effects of climate change are global and the temperatures are rising.
Your Excellencies, this past year has been the hottest in recorded history. For the first time, for more than 12 months, global temperatures have exceeded the warming threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius. We are dangerously close to a line beyond which there is no return, a line that separates the world as we know it from a world that will be unrecognizable. Our choice today will either be remembered as the moment we step forward together or as the instant we allow the world to slip from our grasp. How will they judge us? Will they say we were too timid, too divided to say what we had the power to protect? Already the catastrophic climate events witnessed around the world have led to major loss of life, property, infrastructure. And yet we persist in responding to these events as though they are merely unfortunate, isolated and national. I ask you to look beyond borders, beyond flags. The fires that devour your forests, the hurricanes that shatter our homes are not distant misfortunes, but shared tragedies. What we endure, you endure. What we lose, you lose. And if we fail to act, it will be our children and grandchildren who bear the burden, their dreams reduced to memories of what could have been because of what we have saved. This is the fundamental principle underpinning this United Nations framework. None of us can achieve a solution by acting on our own, and none of us can escape the obligation to act in the best interest of ourselves and each other. Our survival is in our hands, and hope lies not in waiting, but in moving forward with the fierce determination to secure a future that humanity deserves. In order to protect that shared interest, now and into the future, urgent, serious action is needed to reduce carbon emissions. We know this. We know this. A continuation of current practices will lead to catastrophic rise in temperature of up to 3.1 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. The current nationally determined commitments made for 2030 are not being met. Even if they were, we would still face a rise in temperature of 2.6 degrees Celsius or more. It is still technically possible to meet the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius, but only if there is a G20-led massive global mobilization to cut all greenhouse gas emissions, as they are responsible for 80% of all carbon emissions. It is possible, but they would need to act dramatically and decisively, and action would need to start today. In the face of all of this, we still refuse to give up, refuse to lose hope. We cannot accept that our survival is merely an option. And so, in the Bahamas, we continue to play our part. We continue to preserve and protect the forests of grasses in our seas, which are estimated to absorb more carbon than the Amazon rainforest. If the Amazon provides the lungs to the planet, our seagrasses are its hidden blue heart. We will continue our transition to sources of renewable energy, and we will continue to pioneer the use of blue carbon credits to support the architecture of international climate finance. We want to play our part, but alone we cannot succeed in any of it. We simply do not have the resources, and each hurricane, each climate disaster leaves us with even less. Your Excellencies, we must not forget this historic achievement of the Paris Agreement. In Article 9, the special circumstances of small island developing states and least developed countries were addressed in its climate finance provisions. The numbers paint a clear picture. Small island states have spent 18 times more in debt repayments than they have received in climate finance. Our special circumstances require more action, not less. These provisions must urgently now be fully operationalized, along with the other funding commitments previously made.
The national flag carrier of the Bahamas has reached another milestone in its history as Bahamas Air officially launched its inaugural flight to Jamaica. Our Matt Mora has more.
Inaugural Flight 147 touched down at Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay to a rousing round of applause, ushering in a new era in the Bahamian-Jamaican connection that could further lead to increased opportunities for the national flag carrier insofar as inter-Caribbean or multi-destination travel between CARICOM countries is concerned. Sunday's flight also fulfilled two of the Davis administration's objectives as articulated by Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, at the Afrexim Bank's annual general meetings in New Providence in June, at which time the Deputy Prime Minister said, in his role as Vice Chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, he was in dialogue with 4 key Caribbean carriers, including Bahamas Air, to encourage multi-destination tourism that may be leveraged for cargo as well. The administration's plan is to also make the Bahamas the linchpin in the Caribbean for doing greater business and trade through an expansion of opportunities in tourism, investments, trade, and cargo. Minister of Immigration and National Insurance, the Honorable Alfred Sears, subbing for Deputy Prime Minister Cooper, spoke to the significance of the expanded service.
While we continue to break barriers with new connectivity in the UK, the US, Canada, and other source markets, this inaugural flight today has special significance for our Caribbean community and the Caribbean Tourist Organization.
Minister Sear said success in the tourism and related industries does not occur by happenstance.
Last year, during our 50th year of independence, we launched an historic National Aviation Strategic Plan. Among the strategic priorities were exploring opportunities to increase stopover arrivals, expand airlift connectivity, and strengthen strategic partnerships within the tourism and aviation ecosystem. Success as leading tourist destinations comes because of meticulous planning and mutually strong partnership around a shared vision.
Bahamas Air officials say the establishment of the new route signals that the carrier is on the right path. Mr. Tracy Cooper is the airline's managing director.
The good thing about us coming here, and if you go to any of the aviation conferences in and around the Caribbean, one of the big things is intra-Caribbean travel. How do we make it work a little stronger? We've had mentions of it. How do we make sure that flights in and around the Caribbean can actually move not just the tourists, but also our people? And this year is just Bahamas Air trying to do its part. We're already flying, I would consider to be the nexus if you look at Cuba and Providenciales and Haiti. And moving on to Jamaica is just the natural next step.
The national flag carrier will offer twice weekly direct flights into Montego Bay on Thursdays and Sundays, covering in a little bit over an hour as part of its service into Jamaica. Minister Sayers said the benefits from the new thrust can be immense in terms of trade, investments, economic development, and heritage, cultural, and sports tourism, adding that the venture will help the administration to realize its dreams of becoming known as the hub for better connectivity throughout the Caribbean region. For Your Government in Action, I'm Matt Mora.
Girls empowerment took center stage at Margaritaville Resort on October 11, 2024, as Governor General Her Excellency the Most Honorable Cynthia Pratt encouraged young girls to tap into their boundless potential at the opening ceremony for Straw Inc.'s International Girls' Day celebration under the theme, Girls' Vision for the Future.
You're the future leaders of this nation. Are you hearing me? You are the next leader in medicine, in education, in whatever position, whatever, listen, you could be the next prime minister, you know. You know that? You got to believe that. You can be the next minister of national security. I was, and I was a woman, still a woman. And guess what? National security is a male-dominating arena. Police, defense, and the prison. And so when I was named minister, you know what they said, right? A woman? No way. Because they believe that we are too soft, we're too emotional, all these kind of things. You know, but guess what? You stand tall because you know what? You are determined to make a difference. You are determined to make a difference. And when they saw the real me, officers, you remember that, right? Yeah, they're officers, the real me. Then they knew that this was a female body, but in this body was a brain. A strong woman who knew why she was there and had a job to do. Now I watch these young girls perform up here. H.O. Nash. You see how gifted and talented you are? Come on, give yourselves a hand. Know that you are somebody. And you're here to make a difference in this nation.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Celebrating 5 decades of linking people with their government, Bahamas Information Services marked its Golden Jubilee. For the past 50 years, Bahamas Information Services has been integral in bridging the communication between Bahamians and their leaders, documenting the progress of the nation, as well as keeping the public informed.
Today marks a significant step in our journey with Bahamas Information Services. The department was established by an act of Parliament 50 years ago. The government of the day saw the need to ensure that the people of the Bahamas had a direct link to its plans, policies, and programs which would directly impact the lives of ordinary Bahamians and to contribute significantly to nation building. This link was established of the Bahamas Information Services Department on the 15th of October 1974. At the onset, the primary guardian of the government's voice, we inform and educate Bahamians on the current government's agenda, not from a political standpoint, but from a bipartisan perspective to ensure that the message is not lost as a consequence of political interference. So the information is not eye-catching, and it's not salacious or emotive, and some people would say a bit boring, but it's necessary. At BIS, our main objective is to serve the Bahamian people. So we've been in the business of public service and public administration for 50 years. As our mission states, to ensure effective communication between the government and the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas by providing a central channel through which may flow information to and inquiries from the public, local, regional, and international media. Daily, our editorial and broadcast teams are on assignments documenting various press releases, photographs, and the videos the government's plan and videos of the government's plans and policies taking shape. We serve as public relations advisors for major events such as the opening of Parliament, international conferences, royal visits, official funerals, etc. We also produce documentaries, a weekly government in action program that airs on the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, ZNS TV, new programs distributed for TV, and a news magazine called This Week in the Bahamas, showing the transformative movement of government information, plans, and policies. As we continue our journey, some of the initiatives that we are currently undertaking include enhancing our product, being intentional in development and building capacity, organizational capacity, and moving into office spaces designed to maximize the talents of BIS's resources, and that would be our valued staff. We thank the Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, and the government for its continued trust in BIS.
The 50th anniversary celebrations continued as distinguished guests, including government officials and past and present employees of Bahamas Information Services, gathered at Balmoral Club on October 14, 2024, for a gala dinner to honor the legacy of Bahamas Information Services since its establishment in 1974.
I wish to add my congratulations to the Bahamas Information Services Department and by extension the government of the Bahamas for 50 years of public service in the areas of public affairs, communications, and information. You deserve a round of applause. As the political head with responsibility for driving government's communication and information policy, our vision for the Bahamas Information Services, or BIS, is to transform that communications and information agency of record into a premier and trusted purveyor of government information across all media and communication platforms in real time. And the Director General spoke about that in technology. So the information must be true, factual, unassailable, dispassionate, free of political spin, easy verifiable, and easily accessible by the general public. My colleague, Minister Laroda, has said this in Parliament, and I repeat his vision, mission, and value proposition again today. I am fully aware that governments around the world, international news organizations, news and business magazines, and non-governmental organizations rely on BIS for official news about national developments and policies of the government of the Bahamas. In the era of fake news, hidden agendas, and a growing culture of mistrust of government brought on in part by this baneful culture of willful misinformation and disinformation, the truth and facts are under attack. The work of organizations like BIS represents an increasing importance and, I dare to say, critical institutional instrument in building public trust and credibility, not only locally, but internationally. What BIS is not is a propaganda machinery for the governing political party, and too many people make that mistake and fall into error regarding statutory or the statutory mandate and responsibility of BIS. Oftentimes, our work is not sexy, salacious, emotive, or attention-grabbing, but the work of communicating public affairs globally projects the identity of the Bahamas to the world, and it shapes how international actors perceive us. Our work is an important work. This is critical to our national development, and so we take this work seriously. 50 years from now, when most of us that are here have moved on and have moved off the scene, BIS would have compiled a comprehensive digital account, both written and recorded, chronicling the public service and contributions to national development by senior public servants and policymakers such as myself and my contemporaries. The continuous record will assist in not only shaping, but in deepening the national identity of our country and the exceptional skills and vision of its people as our story is told and our legacy is handed down from generation to generation. Your important, albeit unheralded work during international conferences, royal visits, official state visits, independence celebrations, Junkanoo, the opening of Parliament, and the opening of the new legal year, just to name a few, have not gone unnoticed. The quality of your work greatly influences how the Bahamas is projected locally and internationally. So I ask you, give yourselves a rousing round of applause for the work that you do.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Tuesday evenings where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best for the last 50 years and beyond, linking people and government. Happy 50th anniversary, Bahamas Information Services.